Good morning. This is Trang Bo at the California ISO. Thank you for joining us for the Release User Group on February 20, 2024. Today's call and webinar will be recorded and published for your convenience. Participants are muted upon entry, so you may need to unmute yourself via the WebEx as well as your audio line to make a verbal comment or ask a verbal question, and you can also raise your hand and or send a message in the chat. All right. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. As usual, we'll start with the training update. So Cynthia, please go ahead and present this when you're ready.
Morning. On Thursday, we have RSCE Phase 2 Track 2 Pre-Market Simulation Refresher Training. So that's going to be a review of RSCE Phase 2 Track 2, very similar to the one we had back before the previous market sim. And then on February 27th is the TS and MSP Phase 2 training. So that's what we have coming up for now. And if you have questions that you would like answered that you already know right now that you have, you can use that pre-training release survey to submit topics. And I think as Trang has mentioned, in other venues, you can also submit a city ticket. We'll take a look at them before the training and make sure that we include those and get answers to your questions. As always, we have more training materials on the ISO website in the Learning Center, and there's a link for you there at the bottom. Any questions?
All right. Thanks, Cynthia. Any questions or comments again for training? Okay, thank you very much, Cynthia. We'll go ahead and move forward. We'll cover the release plan for today. So for summer 2024 release, we have Transmission Service and Market Scheduling Priorities Phase 2, Transmission Exchange Agreement with WAPA, the AES SOC Retroactive Enhancements in the Settlements Summer 2024 release. For independent releases, we have the RSEE Phase 2 Track 2 Post-HASP Curtailments for April 15th, 2024 activation. We have the URL and IP changes as part of application delivery resiliency. The transmission register upgrade planned for production the end of February on the 27th. Then hybrid resources Phase 2C for REMS October of this year. We have congestion revenue rights system upgrade with activities Q3 to Q4 2024. The website replacement Q3 of this year, and then for 881 with Track 1 April 1st, 2024, and then Track 2 for Q4 of this year. And then looking ahead, we have our spring 2026 release with DAME activation, and then the EDAM ISO BA participation rules Track A, as well as the EDAM activation, EDAM onboarding of PacifiCorp, and then WEIM BHE Montana. Okay. I do have slides for most of these, so I'm going to go forward and then cover those and then pause for questions. So we'll cover summer 2024 release first, starting with Transmission Service and Market Scheduling Priorities Phase 2. So I want to draw your attention specifically to the bolded items. Those are recently completed milestones or upcoming milestones. So the tech doc, the settlements tech docs were published on February 12th, 2024 for the summer 2024 settlements release. That includes the TSMSP changes. So those are available on the release planning page. So please take a look at that to prepare you for the market simulation participation and settlements statement publication of market simulation if that applies to you. Also, in the market sim space, you'll see that we did publish a version 1 of our market simulation scenarios on Friday. So take a look at that scenario. We will likely add more details to that, but we wanted to get that in front of you to be able to provide feedback on and ask questions so that we can include any additional helpful information in an upcoming revision of the market simulation scenarios. For training, as Cynthia mentioned, we have a session on February 27th, which is next Tuesday. So that is one of 2 trainings for TSMSP2. This implementation, as well as the market simulation and the training, are broken out into two categories. One for the monthly functionality, which will be first for the training, the market simulation, and the production implementation. And then there will be a second date for the daily process and functionality that will cover in the separate training for daily, a separate market simulation for daily, as well as a separate production implementation. Okay. We do have a few other slides for this initiative that I'll cover. So as I mentioned, there's a monthly grouping of activities here, starting with the February 27th training, and then the market simulation March 1st, and then the go live and production of April 17th. So that will all support the monthly functionality. And then for daily, we will have market simulation training the week of April 1st to support the market simulation starting April 9th with the production deployment May 24th about. And then just a reminder that market simulation settlements will be published for trade dates Tuesday and Thursdays through the market simulation. And so another item is that on the KAISO.com calendar, you should see the market simulation kickoff call for this Thursday, February 22nd, at 2 to 3 Pacific. So that'll kick off those calls to support this and other market simulation initiatives more closely before we start. Okay. And then this is the overall timeline of TSMSP2's automated functionality implementation. No changes since we reviewed this the last time a couple weeks ago in the rug. And then as a reference here, it's also linked on the earlier slide and down below. This is the monthly wheeling through priority request due dates for production. So you can review the previous stakeholder presentations for the manual process that we're supporting through until we get the automated functionality. So we did close the first window that's listed here on January 31st and publish the results in the awards on February 5th. Our next window here started on the 18th, and that will go through March 2nd, where a few days after that, we will publish the results for that window as well. Any questions or comments on TSMSP2? All right. I'm going to go on to transmission exchange agreement. So for this one, the tech doc, it should show were published on February 12th. Those are included on the release planning page for summer 2024 release. And the first draft config file and release component summary is not completed yet. That is on track for February 26th. Okay. We do have a CMRI tech spec for transmission exchange agreement that is planned for the end of February. And then the market simulation for WAPA will start April 4th. And this is for July 1st activation and production. Any questions or comments on TEA? All right, I'll go ahead and move forward to the settlement release enhancement for the ASSOC flag. So again, this is not a separate initiative. It is a enhancement that's included in the settlement summer release. And this has been covered in the settlement user group since January 17th. And the market operations BPM, so I want to draw your attention to that last bullet item. That PRR was published some time ago, and the comment period did end last week, and that is on track and on the agenda for the BPM meeting today at 11 Pacific. So please tune in to that BPM change management meeting to cover that PRR if you're interested in that. All right, and then again, this will be deployed to MapStage with the summer release settlement code. So for those that are interested in testing this during the other market simulation activities with the same code base, we will support that. Just submit as the city case with any market sim city case with any special request for support. Any questions or comments on this? let's move on to independent 2024 releases. We'll start with RSEE Phase 2 Track 2 for April 15, 2024. No changes to the scope here. The BRS version 1.41 published or revised in September is unchanged. And so what the recent activities and upcoming activities are bolded. So on February 14, we did have an LPT export e-tagging training. Again, this is just to build on our communication that we've had in multiple forums, including the RUG, about the tagging validation impacts. We did have an in-depth training session on that. That's available in the Learning Center. The materials and the recording are there. For those that are interested, we have a lot of really thoughtful feedback and comments from customers about that we are working on including responses and communicating responses out for. So you can look forward to that. And then if there are additional questions about the tagging and comments, please do submit cities, and then we will work to incorporate that into our responses that will get out to our customers. We have, as Cynthia mentioned, a refresher training that will include the LPT export e-tagging on February 22nd, and the intent of that is really just to refresh us and remind us on the functionality that will be available for the market simulation for this initiative, which includes tagging, but also other functionality that is not active in production yet. So the scenarios were actually revised, so we do have a revision of the scenarios to include more guidance on how to test the tagging components and details around that. So please refer to the release planning page for updated scenarios, and I'll update the slides to add that we did have a revision there. And then the market simulation is planned to restart February 26th through March 15 for all of the RSEE Phase 2 Track 2 functionality that is not yet live in production, including master file scope, ADS scope, CMRI scope, as well as the tagging validation. Right, and production activation, again, is planned for April 15, 2024. So, Gaston, I see you have a hand up. Please unmute your line and go ahead when you're ready.
Yes, thank you, Trong. So just to confirm, for anyone that'd like to participate at the market simulation on either case, for LPT or the other initiative, they need to be having user access through digital certificates, the proper access, and of course, accessing map stage. That is enough for them to participate, or is there a need also for them to send you guys an email saying that they'll be at the training, at the simulation? So you like to be informed about that as well.
Yes, thank you for the clarification. So both. So the first is definitely a hard requirement, is that if you want to participate in the market simulation, you will need access to the applicable systems in the map stage environment. So you can work with your UAA to provision that, and then let us know if there are any questions. And then secondly, for your intent to participate, I would suggest that you send an email to marketsim@kaiso.com and or submit at MarketSimCity to inform us of your intent to participate, and that serves a couple of purposes. One is it allows our to validate your access and data and configuration prior to the start of market simulation. And secondly, it allows us to be able to target our communication to you as a market sim registrant for any market simulation specific communications in case there's changes or information that needs to be communicated about this RSEE Track 2 market simulation. We can have that communication sent to you as part of our registration list. I hope that helped.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much for your help.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other questions or comments on RSEE Phase 2 Track 2? Okay, so the other materials that we have here are just for reference. We've already covered this and built upon them in the training that's available on the Learning Center, so you can refer to that. And just as a reminder, to the takeaway for the training on February 14th, again, is that we do encourage customers to submit the tags or familiarize themselves with that tagging timeline now, which I think most of you are. And then, of course, if there's any additional feedback, submit a city to us, and then we will work on providing responses to those. All right, I'm going to move on to the next item, which is the URL and IP changes as part of the application delivery resiliency effort. So we're not going to go into too much detail here, but we do have, because we do have a separate forum on Wednesdays from 2 to 3 Pacific that we're committed to holding through the final transition of the UIs and the APIs. So the recordings and the presentations for these forums specific to the URL and IP transition are available and on the CAISO website, and our next session is tomorrow at 2 Pacific time to go over known issues about this and just have support, more closer support for the transition. So this is the current status of all of the URLs that are transitioned. You'll see that for the UIs, everything except for TR is available. TR will be aligned with the TR upgrade February 27th. And then the old UI URLs, except for BAYOP and BSAP, are cut over. And then the BAYOP and BSAP UIs will be decommissioned February 2024 as our target. You will get a notice in advance of a time for BAYOP and BSAP UI to be decommissioned when we have that date determined. And then for the APIs, we don't have a current target date yet because there's the one known issue that we are working through. And then once we have more certainty and information and a resolution for that, then we will determine a date and then give you advance notice of that cutover date for the APIs as well. Any questions or comments on this? All right. So on to transmission register system upgrade. And this functionality, this new system, the upgraded system for TR does remain available in the map stage environment. And we do appreciate those that have been testing and providing feedback on that. For production, our target for the TR upgrade is on track for February 27, 2024. And you will receive notices prior to that date to confirm the date and or communicate any changes for production. And we will continue to monitor map stage and ensure all issues are resolved as part of our final preparation for production. Any questions or comments on the TR upgrade? All right, move on to hybrid resources 2C for RIMS. So for this one, we did communicate a revision to the BRS on January 4, so that is available. That includes market simulation business requirements. And we do plan to have a market simulation for this likely in the July-August timeframe for a production activation on October 1st for the RIMS component of this. Any questions or comments on hybrid resources 2C for RIMS? Okay. And then we have our CRR upgrade. So this one is, Alina, please.
This is Alina from PG, and I'm sorry I missed the RSE, WEIM RSE slide. Just wanted to know if you have a target date for the market simulation for this initiative.
Yeah, thank you. So we are planning to start the full market simulation on Monday, the 26th. And to support that, we do have a kickoff call on this Thursday, February 22nd, to be able to give you the final detailed confirmation of starting that simulation on the 26th.
Great. Quick clarification. Okay. So this market simulation will focus on WEIM RSE, not the other summer initiatives, right?
Yes, so there will be some overlap between this RSEE implementation, which is independent, and then there's the TSMSP market simulation that's starting on the 1st, which is later that week. And so as I mentioned, there will be some overlap in March that will support both initiatives. But the one that starts on the 26th is just for RSE.
Great.
Does that help?
Thank you so much.
Okay. Yep. Okay. All right. On to CRR. So for CRR, this initiative is supported with a customer partnership group that happens about monthly. The next CPG is going to be this Thursday, February 22nd, and that will be planned for the morning. I believe it is 10 to 11 Pacific time. So we have the timeline that's there, and then again, just more references to the CPG this Thursday. And then just a reminder too, as we've been mentioning in the RUG and the TUG and other in the CPG itself, the CRR CPG itself, the mock APIs, which is a new technology for us, is available for CRR in the MapStage environment. So we believe that that will provide a lot of value to customers that will be using the API to get a head start on the CRR API preparation for market simulation. So if that is pertaining to you, where you do intend to use the CRR APIs and also participate in the market simulation, please do see our guidance and reference for the mock API services in MapStage and take advantage of that. And we are looking for feedback on how that works out for you. And again, we do hope that it provides a lot of value and a head start on that. And we do plan to extend that type of technology and functionality for future services, API services and web services in the future as well. Right. Any questions or comments on CRR? Okay, so we'll move on to FERC 881. So we have a couple of tracks this year for FERC 881, Managing Transmission Line Ratings. So the BRS for this was published on January 30. We already mentioned that in the last RUG, and the production activation is April 1st of 2024. So there's for track 1, and then for track 2, that's Q4 2024. So there are a couple of things that I'll add to this as well. There are market simulation impact areas identified in the BRS, so we're working through the details on how to facilitate that, because it will not be a traditional market simulation, but more how we can get the file to you to demonstrate the submission of the data. And then secondly is that for training, there's not going to be traditional training at this time, but there are operator materials that we are in sessions that we are scheduling and recording, and we'll be publishing on some of the ISO websites. So we'll refer to that too for track 1. I will include more information here, but I just wanted to be able to speak to that to let you know that there will be additional helpful information as part of the track 1 881 implementation that we will roll into this communication as well. Any questions or comments on 881? All right. This is the 881 timelines by track. Track 1, again, for 4/1 of this year. Track 2 for later on this year, and then track 3 as well. Okay. Then we'll move on to spring 2026. So we'll start with DAME. So the update here is that the compliance filing for DAME and EDAM was made on February 16th, Friday. So that is available for your review on the ISO website. We're still working through getting the BPM information published out to you. So we're working on identifying the BPM impacts, the specific BPM impacts, and trying to be able to provide a summary of those ahead of actually publishing the PRRs. And then no other changes to the other milestones. I think what we have coming up is going to be in March, the second set of draft config guides for settlements, and then in August, the third set of charge codes there. And then, of course, a BRS revision 1.2 planned for March, and that will align with the latest tariff compliance filing, as well as maybe incorporate some other clarifications as well. Any questions or comments on DAME? Okay. So then we have just, again, the BRS revision summary that was already presented. So that's there for reference. And then we'll go on to EDAM. And the update that I'll have here is going to be similar to what you saw for DAME. So we have a BRS revision that is planned for March again, and that will include the alignment with the tariff compliance filing that was made on February 16th, as well as additional clarifications. Then in March, we also have a second set of settlements charge codes, and then the third set of settlements charge codes in August. And then we are still working through several tech specs. Cyber, Oasis, CMRI, and PLC are planned for Q1 this year, so expect them by the end of March. And then for the BPMs, again, we're working through providing a summary of the BPM changes ahead while we continue to work on getting the PRRs published. And then we have an updated version of the market sim scenarios, version 1.1, published on February 15th, and there's just clarifications about the market simulation timelines in that last version of the scenarios. Any questions or comments on EDAM? All right. So we have, okay, so I have a hand up from MCG Vancouver. Please unmute and go when you're ready.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can. Hi, who is this from MCG today?
This is Rob from MCG. Question on the tech specs for cyber. You had kind of lumped them in with CMRI and Oasis as being in Q1. We still would expect that before the end of this month. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm sorry about that. Yes, so we are still working on cyber, so that one is close to wrapping up. So yes, you can plan for it.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry about that confusion. Okay, good. Any other questions or comments on this? Okay. So this is the overall timeline for EDAM and DAME as of now for deployment, again, fall of 2025, and then activation May of 2026. And this is just an even a more high-level timeline of the EDAM onboarding milestones. We presented that at the board this month. And then we have, for your reference, the EDAM BRS revisions as well. And then EDAM ISO BA participation rules track A. So this one we do expect we did request a FERC response by February 15th. We have not received that yet. So that should be coming soon. And then that's the only update that I have for this one so far. Does anybody have any questions or comments on the EDAM ISO BA participation rules? All right. And then we have WEIM BHG Montana, our standard WEIM onboarding that follows the timeline, traditional timeline. And you'll see those milestones leading and activities leading up to the May 2026 activation. Any questions or comments on this? All right. And then we do have our RUG again in 2 weeks on March 5. And then if you have any other questions or comments, you can reach out to me via email and or submit a city case with a functional environment of release of market sim, and we will address those. Any final questions or comments for today? Okay, Kevin, please go ahead.
This is Kevin Pigeon. Do you have any updates on the CAISO website, that update?
I don't right now, but I will queue that up for the next RUG on the 5th to have a slide section for that. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Kevin. All right. Anything else? Okay. Thank you all very much for your participation and engagement, and please reach out anytime. And I hope you have a great rest of the day.